SuperFluous Media presents Meet Your Heroes, a SuperFluous News podcast. Episode 1, Density. Good evening, everybody. I am Dallas Darling, or should I say good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time you're listening to this recording. We are bringing you our very first episode of Meet Your Heroes, brought to you by the SuperFluous News Network from Berlin, our studio in Berlin. So, being a superhero-focused network, as is the name, we are focused on superhero culture, and we've decided to open up a new show, a new segment, where we bring in superpowered individuals from all over the world and just get to know them a little bit better. And the candidate joining me for my first episode, our first episode, is none other than...
Density.
Density! So nice to meet you, Density.
Nice to meet you.
And how are you today?
I'm doing fucking wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great myself. So how did you get here, Density? Was the transportation well? Did you fly? Did you teleport? Did you use a super ship?
Well, I do what I call phasing. I phase through this. As I can manipulate my molecules to be at any frequency I like, I decided I would take the phase route here. By the way, there are underground tunnels of magnetic lifts that the government only lets superheroes use, so I could take those at will if I choose.
Alrighty then, folks. Don't let anybody know about those lifts unless they are a superpowered person themselves.
Now, we'll kill you if you try to use them. You think I'm joking.
Aren't you? Oh,
no.
Okay, moving swiftly forward. Density. So your powers, if I understood correctly, are phasing. You can phase through other dimensions, and you can interact with objects and perhaps creatures from frequencies that we can't normally interact with. Is that correct?
Well, sir, you are actually interacting with frequencies at all times. You indeed are vibrating at a resonance, at a frequency. Your atoms oscillate at will. For example, you are leaning your elbow on a table right now.
That's right, I was.
The only reason you are able to lean your elbow on that table right now is because that table is vibrating at a denser frequency than you, therefore making it dense in your consciousness perspective.
I see. But it's sort of like we have the same, frequency, or not frequency, signature. Otherwise, I'd pass right through it, no?
You would pass right through if you were vibrating faster. However, you are vibrating... Wait, other way around. Sorry, quantum physics is not my thing. I just live within it. Anyway, this is vibrating the table in which I am pointing at with my hands that are vibrating.
Those are the very hands I see. I see them right before my eyes, folks.
Yes. They are actually vibrating around the same frequency because they can interact with each other. They can't move through it. However, at will, just with a thought and the flick of my nipple, I can make myself vibrate faster or slower than just about anything. So if I wanted to, as I have multiple times, I visited inner Earth just by vibrating faster than the ground beneath us. Right? Phase right through it. Take a stop at inner Earth. Nice place. Has a sun.
Oh my. Is that faster than the U-Bahn?
Sometimes.
That's great. Perhaps you can take me somewhere. Actually, speaking of which, can you take other people with you?
If I touch them, yes.
Oh, right. Fascinating. And if you're saying that there are different things operating on different frequencies, does that mean we are all technically occupying the same space?
Everyone occupies their own individual space within the space-time continuum. Space.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of jargon for me, folks. Hopefully we can get some eggheads on here to translate this for me. But this is a budget show and only our first episode, so I am mostly, if not the entire crew. So maybe we can get some eggheads on that in subsequent episodes. Okay, Density. Why don't we forget about the present? Let's go back. When did your powers originate? I know that you're famous and you've been around for only a few months. But what do you have a secret identity? Where do you come from? Tell us a little bit about you personally. Where do you come from?
In order to answer that question properly, I must help you understand the concept of time, as it is an illusion, a vibratory illusion. In terms of age, I have been around for about 36,000 years over the course of 13.6 lifetimes.
Oh my, that is definitely longer than I've been around.
Has it though? Have you not also experienced these lifetimes? Perhaps your DNA could one day unlock the way mine has in order to allow yourself to vibrate at will.
Perhaps it could. And speaking of unlock, does that mean that your powers, that you were not born with your powers and that you obtained them later? Or did you develop them? What was the first instance when you knew you were different?
The reason this time around in my 13th lifetime that I am, let's say, conscious of all of my abilities is because this time I remembered. I woke up as a baby, as a young tyke. I could remember who I was, what I am capable of.
That early in your childhood, huh?
Yes, I remember being squashed by a block where they were building the pyramids. I remember being a German peasant in the 1500s that led the revolt until I was killed by a knight.
A humble Bauer.
Yes, a humble builder, indeed.
Bauer. That's German for farmer. But okay, I see.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't speak German, but I'm pretty sure Bauer is farmer. But it's okay. I'm sure you know way more than I do about when it comes to quantum physics.
The only thing I know, my friend, is that I know nothing. However, the government chose to do a lot of tests on me in the underground black ops sites. You wouldn't believe the budgets they have and where they get them from. Sex trafficking. Anyway,
we'll have to edit that one, edit that last piece out, or pretend no one heard that.
Part of my contract is that you do not edit anything I say. For once it is in your mind, it is in your experience, your body, the water, the 90% that you are has a reaction to it. Okay? Yes. So you cannot leave it. As much as when an actor does a scene from a film, and they're like, "Oh, I have this idea, that idea about a scene," but then they say, "Oh, what did someone else do? What did Lou Diamond Phillips do in this scene?"
What did Lou Diamond Phillips do in that scene?
Instantly, your perspective is changed forever. You are never the same, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Like making awkward eye contact with a pig.
So, alrighty then. If we can just circle back. So, if I understand correctly, you remembered your past lives as a child, and that's when your powers awakened?
I've always remembered, but I've forgotten, if you know what I mean.
I'll take that as a yes. I'm going to interpret that as a yes. Okay. And next is that I want to ask you, if you existed or remembered like your life sort of as a baby, did you have a childhood? Did you go to school? Did you live a normal life? Do you have a secret identity?
No, because to have a secret identity would mean I need to keep people, keep myself safe, keep my family safe. If anybody messes with me, I just get the fairies to sick on them. Much like a German shepherd, attacks a fleeing criminal or a fleeing brigand. I can sick fifth-dimensional entities on people at will. So at all times, even though my house looks like it is unprotected by any sort of physicality that one criminal can discover, I have indeed a multitude of multi-dimensional dense figures protecting me at all times, Alazide.
That is a lot to unpack. I want to circle back. I'm interested in the fairies that you mentioned. What fairies are you talking about? Are these extra-dimensional entities to which you have a bond with thanks to your powers and abilities?
Indeed, we all have an unseen and unspoken but felt relationship with these extra-dimensional entities. I, however...
Quite literally unseen. Carry on.
Because my DNA is unlocked, if you will. It does not remember the Tower of Babel incident in which the aliens returned and locked our DNA in place in many different strands. So now I am one of the few people who can indeed, at will, since a child, at will, have been able to communicate with them. At will. They are all around us right now. I see one right over there, Diego and Diega, brother and sister.
All I see is a speaker. And yet you are able to perceive these extra-dimensional entities at all times?
Yes.
Does that not become overwhelming? Or is your mind built to handle that sort of intense, that sort of density, if you will, of visions?
Good. I see what you did there. I like. Well, the only time I've ever really had stress was doing the government underground black site programs where they were trying to get me to, say, not in a natural way communicate with these beings. They were trying to see how they can pull from my blood to access these beings at their own will instead of in my own will. However, it is built into my biology as it is yours if your DNA was indeed unlocked.
Are you implying that anybody can obtain this power?
I truly believe that, yes. I do not think I am special. I think I am an indication of what is to come.
So you are saying that you might be the next step in, for example, human evolution?
Yes, however, we have been fighting an enemy for a while. Any supervillain that you see in this world is indeed part of this secret cabal of, people that want to suppress the natural tendencies and abilities of humans that they may access at will if indeed they did not eat certain foods, if there were not chemicals inside of the laundry detergent, the Witheredspoon machine, things like that.
I see. And you mentioned all the villains are involved in this cabal?
In one way or another, say if they go from small-gang brigandage over to high-level crime, they want to join the several villainous institutions that exist, at one point or another they are invited to this club.
That is quite a lot to say. That is a dense amount of information.
From what I remember throughout my 36,000 years of existence separated between 13.5 lives, I have indeed experienced many different versions of this cabal that arise and rebuild society in their own way after a number of cataclysms or harvests, if you will.
Densey, that all sounds very fascinating, but I'm very focused, I'm very interested in getting to learn a little bit about you. Because despite your powers, there is still a part of you, I presume, that is human. And I think that is a part that our viewers or listeners, assuming we have any at this point, would like to connect with. So if we could just keep things a little bit more relatable and grounded before we expand. You had a childhood, is that correct? And that's when you were connected to your powers and your past lives? What happened then?
Yes, in this incarnation, and we'll keep it to that, just to respect your wishes. So at this incarnation, I grew up with a family in the Isle of Jersey. And we, had a very traditional path. It was in elementary school where I first discovered that the imaginary friends, if you will, that people said I had were indeed not imaginary. And when all of my other friends started to discard their imaginary friends because they could see what I see, by the way, and then the programming kicked in and their DNA locked up and they could no longer see what I could see. So my initial friends in the playground in school, I remember we communicated at will with our imaginary friends. Then only I at will could communicate with them, and I felt kind of alone, like a standout.
Did you meet these people when they already had their powers, or did you unlock their DNA, as you put it?
Oh, tut me lie. You have actually misunderstood me. All of the children on the school playground, at one point, we all indeed had these imaginary friends who indeed were not imaginary. They are real in other extra dimensions, extra densities of frequency.
So they had other powers, just like you. What I'm trying to say is, did you meet them when they already had these powers?
Yes.
Yes.
So
that is interesting. Perhaps it's a location thing, a proximity.
999, it is within the brain, it is within the blood, it is within your biology, how it has affected the eyes, right? There is a certain amount of programming that happens. You allow your eyes to see, it only translates to what it wants.
Have you met other individuals like these children since?
Every child experiences these. Imaginary friends are indeed not imaginary.
Even me?
Yes, when you had imaginary friends, do you remember any of them? I'm curious.
Oh, I do remember this one character. He was a sort of, I don't know, a broomstick that was serpentine. And I called him Broomy. And we used to hang out and talk together, but then I grew out of it. Are you saying that Broomy was real?
Indeed.
Did you hear that? I could have been a density.
Yes, Broomy was in fact a fourth density Sakar that lives under the inner earth.
Wow.
He was communicating with you with a device called and that...
Can you spell that?
Their language is way beyond an alphabet.
Very advanced. You hear that, folks? Dallas Darling could have been Dallas Density. And instead I had to become a talk show host.
And that's a very good talk show. This is very important. I'm honored to be your first guest. However, I am indeed Manos, the first man, so it is only right.
I suppose so. So long as it's not only Reich.
Oh, scheisse.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I'm curious, though. If you were raised in Jersey, can you explain the German word dropping that you're doing? Is that because we're in Berlin, or is there something else behind it?
Yes, indeed, there is something special within Berlin, in this city that we are here. I do choose to call it my home, most of the time when I'm not in Earth or, Neuschwabenland or something like that.
How long have you been living in Berlin during your current life?
Only about a year. Yeah, I do enjoy it. However, I wish, to be honest, that people would stop moving here. It might get a little too New Yorky for me,
You want them to stop moving?
Yeah, now New York was great, in around 2000 BC when the mammoths were there, but now, you know what? I don't want to, you know what I mean?
I do.
Good.
I do. I don't. Maybe you might have left out a couple 20,000 years from that date.
Do you want to hear about some of my nemesis?
Well, I was going to just comment on one thing, and then we'll go right to that. So, so you're saying that everyone had the potential to become dense, like you, density.
Everyone indeed still does.
But unfortunately, we are too dense.
After an ancient war, you ever seen the movie Star Wars?
Yeah, I've seen them all, the main ones.
Yes, well, indeed, the Death Star was a real thing, right? It once occurred in actual his story, Geschichte. It did indeed happen. Well, the Death Star smashed into a planet called... and that planet was destroyed, thus creating the moon we have now. Now, that was an ancient war between two brothers, Enlil and Enki, when they had vying control over this earth, and they created the Gardens of Edens, indeed, to create the Eve to the Adam, the Adamic race, to tempt the 13th density Logos creator, some might call God.
Wow, density.
They altered his creation in an act of rebellion, changed our DNA, the strands, stopped us from leaving from 2,000 years old, not having to eat food, getting our energy from the sun, vitamin D, to,
for density.
Yes. Well, yes, you caught up. Yes. Good.
Okay. Good. Well, a few minutes ago, before we got sidetracked, you were going to tell me about your nemesis.
Yeah.
Which who amongst Earth's or maybe the cosmic forces superpowered threats are you entangled with?
Well, I am licensed by the throne of the council and the throne of God, if you will, to murder these motherfuckers as I see at will.
I have heard that the council has lifted their no-killing rule.
Yes, because they've decided that, we can't just let them run willy-nilly anymore, trying to create the perfect soul harvest that they like to do every cycle of humanity. You can't allow that anymore.
So you are out to kill all your nemesis?
I already have in this incarnation. I'm sure new ones will pop up, as I talked about, these cabals. They are very predictable patterns of evil that occur throughout every cycle of humanity's existence before it is once again harvested.
If I may say, though, if I may challenge you on this, there are some vigilantes or some superpowered superheroes. We also have some teams who have a no-kill policy. How do you think they're going to respond to the council lifting their no-kill ban? How do you respond to their why would you respond?
That is in place for a reason. The ones I kill are very purposeful, right? Now these ones say like that man that disguises himself as a certain insect that flies around. There's certain villains, perhaps, that I would argue and I would declare officially that perhaps, your overblown sense of morality is actually doing more harm than good. For example, some people, if they're going to be back out on the street, that, perhaps we should just, pop a cap in their ass.
I see. If it's a repeated offender, you might as well take the law into your own hands.
Yes, I don't deal with petty crime. I, however, deal with world-ending secret societies that, put agendas on the earth over the course of several thousand years.
That's very... Okay, that's very elaborate, density. Can I ask you a question? Do you have a secret identity? Do you have an everyday normal life, if I may shift gears for a second? Or do you live as density at all times?
At one point, I enjoyed the normalcy of normalcy. However, yet now I have come to embrace the fullness of who I am and actually just allow myself to be density at all times. So my name, Victor von Ladenburg, I don't really identify as Victor von Ladenburg anymore. You know?
I presume you have not identified him as since your power is unlocked.
No, and I have a deal with the government that
As a baby.
Yes. I no longer have a birth certificate. We set that on fire. You know, I do not pay taxes because if they make me pay taxes, I will expose the fractional reserve monetary system to the entire world, and they will lose power. So, we kind of have a deal. You know, I scratch your back, you don't scratch mine.
I see. There's a lot. Again, not, pardon the pun, I can't help but use it this time. There's a dense amount of information that you're giving me here, and I'm trying to sort through it all.
I appreciate your puns, good sir. Did you know, I pretty much know a lot of fucking people because I've been around for a long time. No one has ever been as good at puns as you. I'm just going to speak to the audience directly here. We were talking in the studio for about 36 seconds before the podcast started. And within those 36 seconds, there were about 2 puns, and they were the best puns I've ever heard.
The
Wunderbar,
best.
wunderbar.
I let off so many puns, and I forget about them immediately. I just have so many of them popping out. I guess I'm a certified pun slinger. Maybe they should lock me up in the penitentiary for punning too much. I'm just a punny guy.
Indeed, that reminds me of the story Malcolm Gladwell had about David versus Goliath. Perhaps Goliath was a bit more slow in the head than David.
I suppose he certainly was, especially after having a few rocks hit him.
Yes, history is written by the victors, as we all know.
But the audience is not that interested in Dallas Darling. They want to know more about you. So, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your nemesis? Like, do you have a specific arch nemesis that you are battling with now? Or perhaps somebody who you thwart on a regular basis but haven't had a chance to kill?
No, I think it's safe to say that there is a sense of celebrity that comes from being a villain itself. People know famous villains from these famous heroes battling out in the middle of the street. My battles are more extra-dimensional, interdimensional, you know what I mean? More recently, I can explain that my battle had to do with another planet under the control of the draconian reptilian race. Our government for a time had a deal with them to provide some soldiers, and they kind of tricked us in a way. They said, hey, can you provide some soldiers over here to protect the planet? We were tipped off it was going to be attacked by a race of rabid wolves, right?
Wolves attacking a planet?
So most recently, my enemies have been a race of hybrid machine wolves.
I see. That makes a little bit more sense.
What are you wiping off your hands there, sir?
Oh, I just got some dust on my hands from the back of my chair.
Wow, now that chair is vibrating slower than you. That's why you're able to sit on it.
Ooh, yes. I do remember the matter lesson at the beginning. It certainly does matter.
This man is going to make my nipples erect with laughter.
So you had to protect this planet? I don't even remember what I asked you before you went on this little quest.
I do not. Of course, I murder by the thousands foot soldiers and cannon fodder of these unconscious, soulless, half machine, half wolf hybrids. But indeed, it was who brought them down there to begin with.
Your nemesis?
Not my nemesis. But my nemesis are more like organizations. They are not really, they are the unseen. I do not have any actual people that name themselves and wear costumes. I murder them quite quickly. They are of no threat to me. For example, if you tried to shoot a bullet at me right now, or some sort of high projectile, for example, once the Canadian government got very upset with me, so they tried to fly a jet at me, and I just phased right through it. The pilot, no harm to him. And then they apologized with some Quebecois maple syrup.
The Canadians sure do know how to apologize.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Yes, they do. Yes,
they are very good at apologizing.
Indeed.
So, if I understand this right, the villains you fight are not of this earth, nor are they perceptible. They are extra-dimensional threats.
Well, when I said before that I went onto another planet, there is a secret you must know. We cannot leave. We cannot leave. I have tried to leave on multiple occasions. There is this stupid barrier that somebody put up that prevents me from phasing through a certain essence of space, that will not allow me to leave. So when I say another planet, for example, where those draconians were, torturing these people to try to get them into their empire, it was actually beyond an ice wall of Antarctica. What water brand are you drinking there?
Tap water.
Tap water inside of a branded water bottle?
That's right.
They're going to sue you. Be careful.
Well, it's a good thing this is a purely audio interview and not a visual one.
Can I say part of the reason I moved to Berlin was actually to have a mineral Wasser mit gas. I love that stuff so much.
I'm more of a still water kind of guy myself, but I guess that means more fizzy water for you.
Yes, indeed. Actually, I actually know that, one of my enemies, actually, they have a very silent war against us that's going on, which is part of the reason you cannot access your DNA to its fullest potential. I, am unaffected because I vibrate out the badness of certain foods so I can eat whatever I want and not gain a single pound or kilogram from, if you're on this dumb continent. But, Gerolsteiner mit Sprudel. Ich trinke jeden Tag. Jeden Tag. I drink this every day. And, the bubbles, the reason there's all these fizzy drinks throughout our current reality and cycle of human existence that we have now is because the bubbles actually soften the blood, thin the blood, and it prevents us from accessing this DNA that they want to prevent another Tower of Babel incident from happening.
I see. If I could stop you right there. I'm trying to, again, piece together. There's a lot to take in here. So your enemies are unseen by us. And I guess it makes sense for you to fight them, whereas the more corporeal heroes will fight the more corporeal villains.
Do you know why you cannot see life on other planets?
Because the planets are too far away?
No. It has nothing to do with the illusion of time. In fact, it has to do with the illusion of frequency, of density. If you were to look on a telescope that could access the spectrum of light, the photons that exist within the, say, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th density of existence, you would indeed see them. However, your consciousness is not capable at this moment with your current locked DNA to access those higher frequencies. So they are actually there. Just like the fairies are here right now. If you were to look at Mars, not in the 3rd density in which you experience reality, but the 4th, the 5th, you would see a thriving civilization.
Oh, fascinating. So there's other life on other planets that this far away from us?
They vibrate faster than we do, therefore we cannot see them. We cannot experience nor interact with them. They interact with our governments while wearing frequency bands that bring them down to the 3rd density. I interact with them at will, again, as the government tried to do at will, but only I can do at will because I unlocked my DNA
at will.
At will.
Well, will you believe that?
Yeah.
So to summarize what you've said, I guess it makes sense for you to operate more on an extra dimensional level that the rest of us can't see. Yeah. Can you name certain threats out there? They're no threat to you, you said earlier, but I presume they're a threat to us. What are they trying to do?
They are interested in specific humans. However, in the grand scale of things, it is all means to a greater macroeconomic end. Therefore, they are trying to have I mentioned these cyclical harvests of souls that happen throughout certain cycles of catastrophe. These guys, they are trapped here behind this barrier that I said I tried to breach, just like us. They are trying to escape themselves. For example, the ancient AI that exists, they are trying to reach the 13th density of existence, the throne of God, if you will, who I interact with at will.
Well, wow. So there's an entire, I don't want to call it conspiracy, but there's a sort of entire battlescape or political web of intrigue happening right in front of us that we cannot see.
Yes. When you dream, everyone accesses it in the astral realms.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Density, I'm going to have to stop you right there because we need to cut to commercial, but we will be right back with more of our hero Density. Stay tuned.
Yeehaw! Have you ever been looking for a light and you can't find it because it's dark outside? Have you lost your iPhone and you're like, damn it, I need that little light on the iPhone? Well, guess what? I'm a superhero that can create light at will. So that's what I did. I found a way to use science to put my superhero light into your home with using a device. And that device I'm selling to you, and it has my forever light inside of it. Careful, that shit's bright. But you can now have light whenever you want. Free energy, man. Give it away to people, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeehaw, free light. My name is Lightman the Superhero, and I'm giving away my free light to everybody who calls. 1-800-234-7676-54321. Call now. Yeehaw. Excuse me, sorry, I had some fried chicken in a bucket before I came here.
Sometimes the best way to regain your lost powers is with a simple pill. Vitalga, able to restore your powers and help you overcome power impotence for up to 4 hours. Over 20 million people have had the Vitalga conversation. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. You are not alone. Be sure to consult your doctor before taking Vitalga. If you have a heart condition or any other conditions that might inhibit your ability to maintain or use your powers, consult your doctor. If your powers reach critical mass and last longer than 6 hours, consult your doctor as well. Side effects may include nausea, chest pain, headaches, dizziness, collateral damage, insanity, temporary blindness, depression, or erectile dysfunction. What are you waiting for? Take your first pill today and get that blood flowing, or fire, or ice, or electricity, or whatever you use. Vitalga.
Hey, it's everybody's favorite superhero, Detachable Limb Guy. As you know, I can detach any limb I want to at will, and we could sew it on you for free. I've been doing this philanthropy for about 35 years. I decided it's time I start opening up clinics around the world. Y'all need a pinky toe? We can saw off my pinky toe, throw it back on you, I'll grow it back immediately, ready to give away another pinky toe, you know what I mean? We're gonna start opening up clinics in Dhaka, Bangladesh. We're gonna go to, fucking Camino on Tatooine, you know what I mean? We're gonna be opening up everywhere. Check your local city. Usually starting off in the capitals, and then we're gonna be everywhere. We're gonna spread like the plague. We're gonna spread my limbs everywhere onto your body. www.freelimbsfromdetachablelimguy.org.
Welcome back to Meet Your Heroes. I am Dallas Darling, and I am here with Density.
Yo, sorry about the burp, guys. I know some of you Europeans are sensitive about that. You're also probably wondering where my accent went. Well, my accent changes at will, depending on how I want to vibrate a certain frequency and oscillate my vocal cords.
Did you hear that, folks? His accent, he can vibrate through objects at will. He can vibrate to different planes of existence at will, and he can even change his accent at will. Well, his accent changes at will. Are you happy with your new accent?
Bonjour, yes, oui, I am.
Oh, it's changed again. Look at this guy.
Yes.
I thought it was going to change again, but I guess we'll wait until the next shift.
Oh, I see what he did there. That's a good... This man is a comedian. I've seen your late night show. I know this is supposed to be about me. I've seen your late night show. Splendid. You usually have a partner here that works with you, don't you?
Yes, indeed. He's out at the moment. He's out sick right now, so I had to do this by myself, but hopefully he'll be with me on the next episode.
I could tell you so much throughout my 36,000 years about the plagues. Oh.
36,000 years of the plagues?
Well, throughout my 13.5 lifetimes, I've seen many plagues. Many plagues.
Many plagues that have plagued humanity?
Yes. You wouldn't believe how many of them are because they withhold the salt. These villains that I deal with, they withhold certain foods. For example, they wanted to cause scurvy sickness on the boats of the British one day. So they said, withhold the lemons! And they did. Excuse me, that was disgusting. The French fries, pommes are very good here. But again, I can eat as many French fries as I want.
I wish I could phase through that onion breath right now.
Here you can. I will help you.
Oh.
For all of you who are listening at home, I just touched him on the shoulder and phased through my butt molecules through his nostrils, so he did not have to withstand my essence. We're laughing because that is funny. Shut up. What?
I didn't have to withstand his essence.
Yeah.
Exactly, because if I had to endure any of his essence, I would kill myself at will. So, Density, let's get real for a moment here. Density, what is a day in the life of Density?
A day in the life of Density. Sorry.
Yes. No. That's it. I wanted to say more, but I'm done. What is an average day in the life of Density?
Well, I wake up, look in the mirror, vibrate off my beard that grows at full length every single morning. It's fucking annoying. Then I will vibrate my teeth at a certain frequency, moving faster than my current mouth molecules, therefore brushing my teeth at will better than a Zane artist ever could. Then I will go to the gym, run at 6,000 miles per hour, transfer that to kilometers if you want, but I use the Queen system, even though the Queen is part of the evil cabal. I still use her imperial system because it's superior, Fahrenheit. Then, I'm kidding, Kelvin is where it's at. Then I will go on the online dating apps. Nobody wants to date a 36,000-year-old dense entity. Therefore, it's very lonely being me. However, it's a sacrifice I can make for incarnating into this body that is meant to stop the evil cabal at will.
I must say, though, as a 36,000-year-old entity, you don't look a day over 25.
Thank you, yes. Well, I spent a certain period of my life addicted to marijuana that has aged my skin quite drastically. Sometimes I am mistaken for a 33-year-old man. However...
Very specific number there.
Yes, however, I live with it because, life goes on.
But I presume your fleshy body right now from your current life is 25 years old. You have mentioned repeatedly your 13 and a half lifetimes, so I presume this is the half. It's still in progress.
Yes.
Do you have infinite lifetimes? Do you know? If you were to be killed, would you just reincarnate?
I've spoken with the throne about this one in the 13th density that I mentioned. We both agreed, I had a contract. I've been here since the beginning, and this is going to be my last one. I'm going to witness the birth of the new Earth, and then I'm going to fuck off, if you will.
The birth of the new Earth? But it's your last life. What's your average lifespan?
Well, this one's going to be 74 years. 74. However, my average lifetime, it varies anywhere. In future lifetimes, I am sometimes living up to 200 years old. Because time is an illusion, by the way. So some of them I've experienced in the future.
Wait a second. This is important. You're telling me that, how old is your current fleshy body? Is it 25 years old, 20 years old?
Yes, 25 Jahre alt.
And you're telling me that it's going to expire at 74?
74.
So you're telling me that within the next 50 years, you're going to witness the birth of a new Earth? What's going to happen to this one?
I don't know. I wasn't told. Now, there's something within the densities community, the extra-dimensionals. We call it a compartmentalization of information. So I have a job to do, right? I am part of the light side of the Force, if you will. We all have jobs to do, as do the dark side of the Force, and they agree before they incarnate in the neutral state. However, I accept that, I am not to know everything. I am to experience much. I am to help much. I am not to know everything. Sometimes it saddens me. Oh, Logos, creator, why do you do this to me? Tell me more. Help me understand. No. We are not meant to understand. We are meant to experience.
I see. With regards to your past lives, you remember them clearly, yes? Does it not make you lonely to live so long?
Well, I think because it's been 13.5 unique individual experiences throughout multiple timelines and densities of existence, I am not alone because okay, let me tell you, because the DNA is unlocked in me, right? I can handle this biologically. However, you've heard of one of my charities that I work with is actually for schizophrenia, right? Because those people, they're in that unfortunate state of evolution that they cannot understand and comprehend within the compartmentalized brain that they are indeed experiencing multiple lifetimes at once, as I do. However,
Is that the same for all schizophrenic?
well, only the certain superpowered ones,
Okay.
right? Yeah. I'm not a doctor. However, I have been one in the past. I forget everything about that lifetime, right?
Convenient.
On purpose.
Inconvenient.
Because after that lifetime, I smoked a huge amount of marijuana when I was a Franciscan monk.
Marijuana?
Marijuana.
Go on.
Yes. So I forgot what I was saying. What were we talking about? I may have had some before I came here.
That explains the smell. You must have phased a lot of that marijuana into you. I was asking you if it's lonely living so long.
Indeed, it has been a lonely road. However, I don't crave companionship with the humans as much as I do with the higher density beings.
There are beings that exist at a higher... they are of a higher status to you, a higher plane of existence.
Not of a higher status. We are all equal. We are all... have you heard the concept of oneness? This is why I do not judge. Even my villains I do not judge. They have their place. If you are here on Earth, experiencing Earth at will, it is because it is indeed at will. You just forgot that it is at will.
And then I forget at will?
At will.
At will.
At will.
At will.
Will.
At... What?
Have you seen the Family Guy episode where he says, Will Wheaton?
Why are you speaking like that? It's Will, no?
Will Wheaton.
Will?
Yeah, that's an actor's name from Star Trek. By the way, Star Trek. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Not Star Wars, I suppose.
Nah, the Trek of the Stars. Now, this came from, you could call one of my enemies, Gene Roddenberry.
Roddenberry?
Yes.
The Gene Roddenberry?
Yes.
The Gene Roddenberry.
Yes, Gene is a figurehead.
That's a very big surprise.
Yes. In the previous lifetime, we both worked in the Wood of Holly. And when we were both casting spells with our Hollywood bark trees as the druid priests that we once were, what are you doing?
Carry on.
Do you have something in your throat?
No, carry on. I was merely reacting.
Okay. Well, every time, just like I talked about with an actor preparing for a scene, when you watch something on television, right?
Television?
When you watch something on television...
Vision,
yes. The reason they call it that, you have a vision, right? It creates an image in your head. It helps create reality in your noggin, right? And it influences you for the rest of your life. The little kids that want to be knots of Astro, right? The astronauts. They want to be astronauts. Why? Because they watch Star Trek. They watch The Wars of the Stars, right? They watch videos made from NASA. And these influence you, right? So ironically, when I worked in Hollywood, I learned that Gene Roddenberry and his cabal were influenced, or I should say, interested in influencing more than they were in storytelling.
You and Gene were in Hollywood in a previous life.
Yes. First we were sexual partners, and then things got fucked up after he asked me to do a ritual. Yes.
I see. What kind of ritual was that?
It was a what you might call a Justin Bieber P. Diddy ritual, which I am not, to each their own, but I am not really a fan.
I see. Given Gene Roddenberry's power set, it's a curious combination. Although it is alluded to that Gene Roddenberry himself has immortality, so I guess it would make sense that you would have met.
Yes. They say live long and prosper. But perhaps there is more symbolism behind the fingers opening wide. You know what I mean?
The fingers opening wide?
Yeah, you know how they would do, Leonard Nimoy would do this with his fingers?
Right.
If you guys, there's a visual, so you cannot see, but I am spreading a gap between my ring finger
He's
and
doing
pinky.
He's doing the Vulcan symbol.
Vulcan symbol.
Live long and prosper.
Everything has meaning, my friend. Language is vibration. The words we are speaking now, English. English has been altered by the cabal. That is part of the thing. I'm trying to bring back ancient words. For example, tetelestai, instead of saying as is.
Tetelestai?
Do never say you're welcome.
What should we say instead?
You are putting a curse on people. Say sure, or no prob, or you know it, bitch. Those are better. What?
Very profound stuff.
Oh, yes. Profound.
I see.
Found, you have found a pro.
Well, we need to wrap up soon, so I'm going to ask you. We spoke about the present, we spoke about the past, and a little bit about the future. Can you help us a bit more? So this is your last lifetime, Density. How do you plan to spend it?
Spending. And by that, I do not mean money, but energy. Energie. Ich habe viele Energie.
Energy?
I must expel it by having experiences just like this. We are talking.
We are indeed
We are talking.
So you have lots of pent-up energy that you just want to throw out.
Yes. In one of my incarnations, I was indeed a hermit.
I see.
So I have all pent-up energy from that hermitism.
Have you found love in any of your lives, if I may ask?
That is the one thing. I am not allowed.
You're not allowed.
I am not allowed. I alluded to that before, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I am not allowed.
That's a shame, because since you can vibrate at certain frequencies, I'm sure there are certain... I'm sure the ladies would love that.
Yes, you would think. I've tried, and I did murder a woman once by accident in that way.
Is it murder if it's by accident?
Yes, it still is very much. It's one of the greatest. It wasn't in this incarnation, it was in the Gene Roddenberry incarnation.
But you were forbidden from finding love, and yet you had a relationship with Gene Roddenberry. Or was it more of a physical relationship?
The 13th Density Council banned me from sexual relations after the Gene Roddenberry incarnation, which, because time is an illusion, actually occurred first.
I see.
Yes.
Why did they ban you? What happened? Was there an incident of some sorts?
Yes. See, my powers are very complex when it comes to vibrations, and sex itself is actually something the enemy uses as a silent weapon. Much, because...
there are known international villains who use sex as a weapon.
You would actually be stunned to find out that the largest shareholders of dating apps are actually the villains you know and love.
I believe so.
The celebrity villains, because it helps spread the cabal's agenda of sexual promiscuity.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, and I believe there is something insidious about dating apps in the sense that why would something that's meant to only work once make money?
Whoa. You just gave me a brain thought.
Did I vibrate your frequencies all of a sudden?
Indeed, new neurons have been created in the brain pathway.
Perhaps who knows, perhaps I could be a professor. Maybe I should have been a professor, Ma.
Perhaps you will be a professor of radio podcasting in the year 2077.
77?
Yes, very important year. You have noticed before I talked about the programming that they put in the television. Cyberpunk 2077. Why they keep saying that name? Who knows? Maybe something happens then. Did the earthquakes in California occur then? Who knows? Did the nuclear wars occur before then? Not if I have anything to say about it. That's why I'm here to stop.
Not if he has anything to say about it.
Macro shit. That is what I deal with. I do not deal with petty villains that have the same power set with me. Now, there's a place for that. Again, I do not judge. We need those Avengers. We need those Justice League type people. And I'm only using them because they're fictional comic book characters, but it's the archetype that we see happening throughout the world, with our superheroes. I mean, you saw there was a big fight in Bruges, over in the Bruges underground, between Horseman and
Man-Horse?
Yeah, and Man-Horse, yeah.
It was quite brutal, yes. It was a gory spectacle.
Yes, it was.
And they had such a stable relationship beforehand until Horseman finally said nay to all the disrespect Horseman was dishing out on him.
I have a new name for you, friend.
A new name?
Pun Master.
Pun Master? Me?
Yes.
Pun Master?
Yes, you indeed are a superhero. Pun Master.
I'm just an ordinary man, a mortal man.
This is what I'm getting at. All of our incarnations have a purpose.
Perhaps I can use my powers in my upcoming episodes of my podcast on Meet Your Heroes, brought to you by the SuperFluous News Network. Oh my, we're almost running out of time there, Density. Is there anything you want to say to our listeners in the next minute or so?
Remember who you are, my friends. Remember who you are. And indeed, you are all my friends, because we are all ourselves, which by, in turn, in so much too as to see, is you being me, me being you. Vibrate at your own frequency, my friends, not the frequency of others. vibrate hard.
Truer words have never been spoken. And if you adopt this sort of lifestyle and this mentality, you can alter your very own destiny. At will.
At will.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, folks. I am Dallas Darling, and this is my wonderful guest, Density, on the first episode of what will hopefully be a new series called Meet Your Heroes, brought to you by the SuperFluous News Network right here, pre-recorded in Berlin. Join us next time for more fantastic superhero interviews. I am Dallas Darling. Be well.
At will.
You've been listening to Meet Your Heroes, a SuperFluous News podcast. This was episode 1, Density. Starring David Muscat as Dallas Darling and Michael Paola as Density. Additional voices by David Muscat and Michael Paola. Improvised and co-produced by David Muscat and Michael Paola. Intro and outro theme composed by Tears in Sadness. And I am your director, editor, sound designer, and announcer, David Muscat. This podcast is a SuperFluous Media production, originally hosted and broadcast by Etiquette Radio Berlin in 2024. All license inquiries can be directed to Etiquette Radio at etiquette-radio.com. Join us next time on Meet Your Heroes, a SuperFluous News podcast. Thanks for listening.